So good morning, everyone. It's really pleasure to have you all here. This is Real Estate Better. It is our webinar or podcast series that we put together with our partners. I mean partners of PropTech Slovakia. And these partners are from Slovakia or from abroad. And what we are doing and speaking about during these webinars and podcasts is we are looking for finding solutions for actual real estate challenges, and we share tips, solutions, experiences with finding ways how to cope with them. Challenge for this webinar is more S in ESG and how inclusion can boost business. So it's a really great pleasure that with me here is Martin Stohl, who is very deep in this ESG topic for more than 10 years. He's architect professional. He's representing Slovak Green Building Council, and he is very deep in this topic. He will be my co-moderator. He will place a couple of questions. I will leave you word in a while. Our host today, and it's my pleasure to welcome Tamáš Méri, who is one of the co-founders of company Access4you, and he is actually Chief Business Development Officer, and Miguel Chaparro, who is Business Development Manager. And it's really good because today we will not speak just about the S, but also about the business, about the governance, and that's why two people with focus on business development are really welcome. What is Access4you? Access4you is an international certification mark that provides detailed and reliable information about the accessibility of the built environment. What does it mean? It is good for society and benefit for business, meaning it does not only help people living with a disability to live a more confident life, but also benefits property owners and companies. In addition to this, to achieving their business and ESG goals with a certified S data. These companies get also an idea of how barrier-free their locations are and how their accessibility can be improved for each stakeholder group. This is more like definition, but now in a human speech. Let me leave word to Tamáš. What does it mean? And if you want anything to add to your introduction, please, it's very welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the stage, and thank you for the invitation. First of all, it's a great idea what you are doing. It's appreciated very much, and it's I'm happy that we can share this topic with the audience. I'm Tamáš Méri, the co-founder, actually an entrepreneur in Hungary over 30 years, and also a property professional for more than 25 years as developer and asset manager, and in different positions also. And my story, or our story in the Access4you International, started 5 years ago when I started to, let's say, consult my good friend who is a wheelchair user, and he had a business idea, a concept, and he started to share this idea with me, and it happened 2019. Frankly saying, I was that time a laik. I didn't know anything about these people at all. And I faced a shocking statistic, and I like to share our presentation, sharing this statistic that in an average population, the proportion of the disabled people is something like 15-16%. How is it possible? I don't see them at all. And the answer is that part of the disability is not visible, because you cannot realize that someone has a hearing impairment, or
Tamáš,
if someone is autistic.
We will come to that.
Sorry.
I would like to. I would like to give it more space because this is really, really important that we will come to this. I just want to give floor to Miguel to short introduction, if he can say something about him, and then to Martin, and we'll go straight to the topic.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Milan. Yeah, definitely. So I will. What I would have to add to this is that I joined Access4you because I truly believe in the mission. I think it's something that is very needed in these times. I mean, there's a lot of solutions for the E aspect, but there's not too many solutions for the social aspect. And we have seen more and more that there is, governmental pressures and public pressure to put more emphasis in accessibility and inclusion. And that's why now coming back to this, I fell in love with the mission. I personally myself, I have a 2-year-old kid. And then when I joined Access4you, I was truly shocked by the numbers, the number that Tamáš mentioned. And I noticed that these numbers actually extend way more than only 15%, because accessibility, it's a matter not only to people with disabilities, but people with mobility problems, the elderly, the people with temporary disabilities, and people with strollers. And I fell into that category. I definitely can relate to this because I have suffered these consequences myself. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me. Thank you, Milan.
Thank you very much. Martin, could you please tell us more about your background and why this topic is interesting for you?
Sure. First of all, I'm really happy that we have this opportunity to discuss this topic. I think it's very important. Where I have started, basically, I started working in Canada back in 1999 as an architect, and it was part of the initiation process for us architect designers that basically our boss requested from us to sit on a wheelchair and spend the whole day, on the wheelchair just to experience what's going on and how it is in real life when you cannot properly open the door or go to the toilet, go to whatever you need to do around the building. So this was the first time that I really realized that it's not enough to have some mandatory requirements by law or local authorities, but you need to really understand what's going on. And this, ever since this moment, was coming through my professional life. So I moved to Slovakia after 11 years in Canada. And the situation here is slightly improving, but it's still very significantly undernourished. Let's call it that way. I was comparing the standards, what we have here in Slovakia. We have 5 pages dedicated to specific requirements for buildings, for example, which is absolutely inadequate compared to, let's say, DIN requirements in Germany or ADA requirements in the United States. So this is one side. The other side is that I was looking at some statistics. Here in Slovakia, we have 870,000 people with some kind of disability. And this is a country of 5.5 million, so it represents more than those 15% that we discussed. It's 18%. And another statistics is that 80% out of this number of disabled are in the working age. So these are normally active people. And what stuck in my mind is also the old-fashioned term that was used for these people. They call them, a very nasty word, invalids here, which means that basically they are of no value to the society. And these disabled people, I think our purpose is also to enable them to not be disabled, but be fully functional. I much rather prefer the term handicapped. So that's one package of people, but of course we need to discuss the rest of the groups that need to be addressed, and those are people who also need special attention, of whether it's seniors, whether it's pregnant women, whether it's parents with strollers, with small kids, etc., etc. So it's a huge topic. I was involved in this topic with big developer companies for the last 15 years here in Slovakia, and I have also prepared a manual, which is like a practical guide for our architects to design properly. But still, I'm really welcoming that there is initiative like Access4you. So I'm very interested also to hear more about it, even though I checked out your website and we had the opportunity to discuss this. I think it was 1 year ago or a little bit longer than that. So that's the introduction from me. And
it's excellent.
I will be
Thank
happy
you.
to. Thank you.
Excellent. Martin, if you have any question, please ask. We have a couple of questions. I think that there will be overlap with what you want to ask, but if there is anything you would like to ask on top of that, please ask. First of all, thank you for your introduction. It's very nice to have you here. Tamáš already touched this topic. It's the what group of people are we talking about, and how is it related to the overall community? Could you please tell us more, Tamáš, now?
Yes, with pleasure. And if I may, to follow the thoughts of Martin here, another additional statistic that you mentioned, Martin, that the majority of these people in a working age. It's also very important to know, and it's an important statistic, that 80% of these people who are in this kind of change status or in this special status, they landed there between an age of 18 and 64. What does it mean for us, for them? That majority of these people, they know that how was their life before. It was a complete life, a healthy life, a complete life. They try to maintain, keep working, keep entertaining, keep shopping, doing the same as before. And this is a nature need for their side, but they are in a different situation. And there an additional important aspect, let's say, I heard somewhere there are two models, let's say. One is the health model, and the other one is the social model. The health model says that the handicapped people himself or herself is not able to access, is not able to communicate. But the social model says that our environment is not inclusive. So basically, we are not helping them, or the environment doesn't help them to access or to communicate or to interfere our life, which is a completely different attitude, because otherwise that this health model or they are taking on themselves. They really feel uncomfortable that I'm not able to manage to do something. And this is very bad, because they have that very sad feeling that I'm not okay. But this is not the fact, not they are not okay. The world is not okay around them. And this is a huge difference. So I like to start presentations to play a bit with the audience, that, okay, every 6 of the audience should stand up. And when we counted 20 persons in the audience, then, okay, who has registered disability something should stay up, 1-2 persons max with some hearing impairments or something. So they are underrepresented in our everyday life. And actually, Balázs, my partner, the founder, a wheelchair user, he realized that actually this underrepresentation is also based on 3 facts, actually. And one fact is that the built environment is not accessible. But on the other side, there is no information about the accessibility features of the built environment. If they exist, they are not precise, no trusted and not detailed. And why this is important? Because these people, they need to plan their everyday life, or once they leave their well-known surroundings, they need information, accurate information, to be able to plan, because they are not adaptive. So if I'm facing a closed door, I climb in through the window. This is me and you. But a wheelchair user, they have a completely different opportunity. So their skill capacity is different. Who we are speaking about, this was your questions. Actually, the registered 15-16% is people, the wheelchair users with different kind of movement impairments, blind or visual impairments, deaf or hearing impairments, and the cognitive, suffering different cognitive problems like Down syndromes or autism or any neurodiverse some problems. They are also our stakeholder group, so we are working for all these. And as Miguel very properly mentioned, our information, so the system, our answer, what we will explain later, that what we created, this information is also useful and valuable for the elderly people. Basically, they are suffering the same problems, and also for the parents with the baby strollers. So basically, we can speak even about 1/3 of the society, and we can also add to that these people are very often the, how to say, they are filtering the possibility of a bigger team. So a wedding, if the witness is a wheelchair user, the event hall must be accessible for him. Otherwise, 100 people cannot join the wedding. So you can imagine that what we are speaking about is a crowd.
Exactly. Yesterday, when I was speaking about it, I realized that it is a snowball. It just this 15 or 30% that we define is a snowball of a much bigger team, because it's always part of the community, and whatever you are planning, wedding or team building, the team must think about this, and if it is not, the team is not complete. Yeah. So it's really it's just the core of the snowball. Yeah. The ball is much bigger.
Indeed.
That's correct. And what we are also saying that if a building is designed or built based on the universal design, this is not only good for the disabled people with special need, but it's much better for everyone. My personal case, I'm not in that age yet, and I have no registered bed. I don't see properly actually. But a few years ago, when I delivered Balázs to a place for a negotiation, I ran up from the garage and there was a glass door, and was running through the glass door. It was not broken, but my head was almost broken. So basically, let's say I'm okay. I'm not in any of the stakeholder groups, but I was running through because there was no signage on the door, and there was a glass door there. So
anyone who is tired has some kind of
that has happened to anyone, right?
Yeah. Anyone can be limited, yeah, in cognitive perspective. Miguel, could you add, please, because I studied a bit. I know that the problem is big, yeah, but what facilities are you preparing the certifications for?
Right.
Is it just commercial real estate, or it's just real estate? It's something else also?
That's a very good question. Yes, definitely, Milan. Well, let's go back a little bit. If we know the challenges, the ones that Tamáš mentioned, that the building environment is not accessible for everyone. There is no information, and even though there is information, usually it's based on self-declaration, right? It's a problem that it's related to people with disabilities or people with accessibility needs, and it extends to the real estate market. Now, this is what the solution where we're presenting. It's for the commercial market, residential market, and even events. Because accessibility, accessibility rights should be in many different sectors, not only for building environments. Universal accessibility should be extended to, as I mentioned before, events as well. So the solution that we present for these challenges that extends to people with disabilities and to the real estate market is the certification. And we make sure we certify how accessible and inclusive these building environments or events are for people with accessibility needs. And it's based on not only in international accessibility standards, but also it has been developed by people that have some sort of disability and rehabilitation practitioners, so on, so on. So we and engineers. So we actually involve a lot of people to develop this software that audits the environment, the building environment, and to actually, you know, start ticking the boxes if it's really accessible or not, because we have to face the reality that for today, you know, building owners, they want to say that they are accessible and they are not. This was the reality, and we have to, you know, to truly you know, do something about it. And this is the mission of unfortunately Balázs cannot be here, but this is exactly the mission of Tamáš and Balázs, that need to really provide true information about the accessibility of this. So that is why, and just to finish the answer, that is why our website, it's made for the end user. It's made to provide reliable information for the end user, for people with accessibility needs, and to show truly how accessible these buildings are. You can name it. So answer to your question, it could be office buildings, shopping mall centers, restaurants, governmental entities, so on, so on. Pretty much everything, because it's related to accessibility and inclusion.
Museums, theater, sport facilities, hotels, restaurants. We are certifying 15 different real estate segments in the comparing, let's say, with the BREEAM certificate. This is the in use. So our core certificate is the Access4you building, which is for the existing buildings. And we have, let's say, 2 extensions or 2 additional product or service what we are delivering. One is the Access4you workplace, because we know that this is very important for the employers, and we can later speak about the 4 target group in the S chapter of the ESG, that who it is good for. So we are giving a certificate for the employer. This is the Access4you workplace, because within an office building, the public area is that the principal is the landlord, the building owner. They are responsible for the public areas. But the leased area, the tenant is responsible for the accessibility, the furnitures and everything. So this is a separate topic actually. And we have Access4you design, because the developers are very often coming to us that we like what you do. I don't have a ready building, but I would like to have as much as possible accessible building when it's ready. So please help me in the design phase during the planning, that how can I reach that goal. So basically, this is our three schemes, let's say. But as I mentioned, that we try to deliver that equal life for these people in every segment of life. So that's why we are collecting the data for them from every segment of the life, from shopping, working, entertaining, and whatever.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning these new European sustainability standards, because they were published just in this December. And what's surprising is that they're bringing 4S standards. And when I was firstly thinking of people with some form of disability, I thought that, okay, this is maybe the biggest minority, so affected communities. This is standard for them. But then I realized, no, these are also employees. This can be also users. Yeah, so all 4 standards actually, and also suppliers.
Yeah.
So all 4 standards should reflect needs and possibilities that this group of people can bring. So it can have impact on all 4 as sustainability standards.
If I may add something to that, like,
yes, Miguel.
This truly, I mean, we could just think that, oh, you know, this doesn't affect the real estate community, but it's extremely related to you know, to tenants or building owners, developers, property management. It's extremely related to them. I know, you know, there's a lot of focus on the social aspect, but let's take into consideration that the relations for the ESG reports are coming all together. They're not coming in separate sections for separate years. They're coming all together. And if property owners, developers, or everyone related to the real estate segment is just waiting to put out fires, I think this is a huge mistake. We should prevent this with solutions that are focusing on bringing accessibility and inclusion accessible for everyone, right? I think in Access4you, which is the European Commission for that, it's focus on European accessibility, and that is gonna make sure that these regulations are gonna take place into European countries. They stipulate that companies in the European Union will have to report on disability inclusion. This is gonna take place very, very soon, and we have to be even for it's shocking. One of the things that is very, very shocking to me, Miguel, is to find out that the real estate segment, property owners, even CEOs of big corporations, they are not aware of these things, because they're taking advice from different advisors, and it's just a mess. It's complete chaos. No one really truly knows what it's coming our way, and we should pay attention to this. It's very, very important.
Thank you.
If I may, maybe if I can expand on what Miguel had said, again, a view from a developer, commercial developer. There are two aspects which are, in my opinion, very important drivers these days now. We do the ESG reporting. We have started with this process, as most of the big companies are doing. And it's not only there are systems such as GRI and GRESB, which basically are kind of a checklist for ESG, environmental, social, and governance, which include the requirements for the social, which includes the inclusivity. But it's also the more stringent CSRD, which is aligned with the EU taxonomy. So we are pushed by the EU legislation to report on whatever we are doing on S front. And this is a very critical part of this S in the ESG, as basically you, Milan, had put right in the name of this discussion. And the other aspect is especially our viewing of the market. Basically, the certifications such as BREEAM had been here for a long time, but now we're working much more with systems such as WELL, which is looking at the indoor quality environment. And the idea behind it is to attract the quality employees, and especially the younger generation. And we can safely say that the physical handicaps have nothing to do with the intelligence or capabilities. So these people are really in a high proportion highly skilled. And if employers are looking for really the best on the market to have engaged as employees, they need to make provisions for these people to feel included, to feel comfortable, and be part of this whole infrastructure and the buildings. So we are trying to integrate all these features and go even beyond that's required by the legislation. That's really too little. And the other discussion, I'm speaking now from practice because we discuss these topics quite a lot internally. So one of the very frequent questions is, how much does it cost? We have a difference between the existing buildings where we need to adjust for accessibility, but for the new buildings, the extra cost is minimal when you implement and when you think ahead about these provisions. So even such things as wheelchair accessible toilets, there could be very well integrated with other functions, let's say changing bed or changing station for small children, for with other things. So this could be done very easily. that goes also for the enough space. You know, you need to provide this 1.5 meter radius wherever possible. So it could be integrated into design when we are thinking about very early. So I think we are now in some kind of a transition stage where there's higher demand, both push and pull for all these things. So I think even your initiative, Access4you, I think is coming in a very, very right time, because for ourselves, speaking again, we need to create some kind of a competitive environment, even between investors and developers. That would be very healthy to show that basically who is providing better environments. And also, I think it's our pride to provide buildings which are inclusive and which are really welcoming to anybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Martin. If I may come back a little bit, you already mentioned that you are providing some kind of certification, but it's not only about the certification, about the trademark Access4you. It's also about information system, and this is something with a, in my view, bit bigger vision, because we are always looking at the buildings, just one building. Yeah, does it have this? Does it have that? But when we are planning, for instance, journey or looking for a flat or looking where I will work for, we are comparing more buildings. And is there something that Access4you offers also in this sphere, like information system?
So basically our product, let's say, is an information, is a software. Actually, we have two legs for that. One is for the users. For this huge group of disabled people, they need this accurate information. So this is the, let's say, the output of our activity. It's this data is available for them on our website, and we have a special mobile application for them. They can filter it on themselves. We are including hundreds of buildings and hundred thousands of information. Actually, just for the knowledge of the audience, today we are in a position to raise at least 1,000 different questions regarding the accessibility of a building. Of course, it's depending on the segment. So we are raising different questions in a hotel, like in a shopping mall, or of course, it can be spread. But theoretically, there are at least 1,000 different questions to be raised. So the answers are organized accordingly according to the type of the disability the person can filter on himself. A wheelchair user is not interested what is relevant for a blind person, you understand. So this is the output side. But since we are delivering this information digitally or digitized, we also wanted to collect it digitized. So basically the data collection part of our activity, which is very important in the whole procedure, that the data will be trustful for them, I mean for the users, if it is not based on self-reporting of the building owner. Why? Because prior we realized that this self-reporting creates a lot of misunderstandings, because there was no common language between the building owners and the users. So if a building owner spoke about the time accessible, it's very often doesn't mean the same what for the users mean. So basically we had to create this common language. There is a very fixed structure to collect objective data. And actually it is done by our auditors. So we are sending out professionals everywhere we are present on the markets, either our staff or through different professional partners. We are collecting the data with the help of a software. So we have our audit software. In that we are raising the questions, yes, no answers, or text answers. We are making photos with them a lot and measurements. So basically this is the data collection. And between the two, we have the black box, let's say, the smart part, the brain, which is analyzing this data. We have our let's say, private standard, and this will be for sure, for Martin, will be an interesting question that, okay, what is the Access4you standard? Because he also mentioned the local Slovak standards, which I think is rather code than standard because the building codes are a bit lower level than the standards themselves. And also in the United States, ADA is the standard, or ADAG behind, but they have also different building codes in the countries and cities and so on. So we have our private standard, which is mainly linked in Europe to the ISO, to the European Accessibility ISO, but it's a bit different. So it's not covering everything. Our software for the users is based on usability of the building. So we wanted to create hard criteria and a lot of nice to have features. But our qualification and ranking system is based on the hard criteria. We say that for the wheelchair user, there are 20-25 different aspects which have to be delivered by a building in order to be able to use for them. There are a bit less for the other stakeholder groups. But if a building is matching all the hard criteria of a building, then we say that, okay, this is suitable, useful for them. And based on these ticks for the stakeholder group, we are giving either a certified place or bronze, silver, or gold ranking or qualification of a building, as much stakeholder groups is served by them. And this is the final result. And between the two, after the analysis, we are issuing an audit report, which includes this final result. But it's very important, we are also adding improvement suggestions. It's also just to reach a higher ranking, so it is still based on our standards, but we have the building owners to improve the accessibility of their building. And it was very interesting that finally we realized that this is an indirect impact of our activity. First of all, we wanted to deliver the information for the users, but because of this ranking, a lot of companies thought bronze is not enough for me. I would like to have silver, and this motivated them to improve the buildings, which is more than welcome. And of course, the carbon footprint of a prevention, so a good design, including everything, is much cheaper than later on to modify the things. But frankly saying, we see that in order to reach a higher ranking, is very often is mainly for the other stakeholders, and it's really cheap solutions. A device, for example, to deliver, to manage the communication between the deaf people. It's we see cheap solutions for that. So basically, this is what we are giving with the certification for the buildings, and everything is based in this complex software actually. And what is very important in terms of ESG, that ESG requires result based on data. And for PropTech and for your profession, that actually it is really a challenge to deliver data in the social chapter. So it is, for that reason, it's also fit very much into the ESG, let's say, thinking that this result or it's based on data, real data.
So if I'm someone with disability, I can find this information in the app that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And also on the website, yeah?
Exactly.
And you have roughly how many projects behind?
Actually, we started our activity in 2019 in Hungary. In Hungary, we already audited over 800 different buildings from every segment as let's say, a pilot country. And now we extended our activity in other countries as well. Today, I think we have more than 1,000 buildings audited already. Of course, the need is to have as much as bigger database. As long as it is not so big, our application is not properly working as a listing app, because the aim would be that all these certified buildings are on the map, and wherever you are, where you be, and you are searching for a particular service which is accessible for you, you can do it via our app. But today, rather, the information is reaching the users either from the service provider side. So, for example, MediaMarkt in Hungary, they put our logo and the link on their website, and they see that, okay, once you are searching for a MediaMarkt shop, check it before through our website. Every single property has a property sheet in our database with all the accessibility information, and on the top some photos about the building and the small marketing and opening hours and things like that. So basic information. And so basically the users can check every single property separately, the data about them. And basically this is the way how we are giving the information for them.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Question, if I may, I have a question to Tamáš, because I assume that basically you have a set of criteria based on which, after checking by your auditors, there will be a ranking pointed to the project, so you can achieve one of those levels at the end. But my question is, with regards to the designing process, if there is any support from your side during the process when the project is being designed, because those criteria, it would be ideal. This is actually the way we work, for example, with certification systems like BREEAM, LEED, and WELL, that they have, let's call it manuals. It's very clear what you need to achieve in order to achieve the highest ranking. So I was just wondering, how does it work with Access4you, if you have a similar system of criteria that we can follow and consult you, let's say, during...
It's very important question, actually, how we can, how often we are and how open the information is. It is interesting because as a startup, and what we saw that our, let's say, value or our know-how is this list of questionnaire and actually our methodology, that what we are speaking about. So we were not so open to make everything, all these questions transparent, let's say. So basically, if we have a client and we have in the design phase, we are facing a good result in the existing building phase. So this is a kind of preliminary work together. We make the same tour as in the reality on the site, but on the design, on the on the plans. We are making the same tour on the building, and basically the assessment is exactly the same, but we are not making the photos, but asking the same questions based on the plan, aiming the good result in the existing when it will be ready. The criteria are today different. We are a bit less requirements towards an existing building than in the new construction, let's say. This is the term rather what LEED and BREEAM is using. So the new construction is, we can require a bit more. It must deliver better accessibility on the end of the day. And actually, in our report, basically, we are sending back the plans with our remarks that where it has to be modified and changed. So it is a kind of consultancy. We are, if we have a client, then we are giving this kind of design tools. So basically, we say that, okay, what are the requirements you have to take care of? And unfortunately, not everything is how to say, designable. So part of the requirements is, let's say, is just on the last day you put the device on the reception desk, which never appears on a plan. But we also give information about this, not 3D, but let's say 2D pieces. Actually, we try to work together with Graphisoft on that those criteria which we really consider very important to create 3D tools in the design softwares. But it looks so that it's really not feasible, because after using the 3D design softwares, even the electricians are working in 2D and they don't deliver their plans in DVG, but in PDF. So it is not the status that the architects. So it's too much about nothing to create new 30, 40 different pictograms for them to put in the 3D design. But let's discuss it, because if you, as designer, you consider that it would be a help for the architect to show additional things, then we can go ahead further with that. But finally, basically, these things today, we also give a list of necessary requirements, and they can express it in a designer report that I will take care of it. And there is a kind of declaration that I will deliver when the building will be ready. And our preliminary judgment based on the plans plus the declaration that, okay, I don't want to do that, but I will deliver that and that. And this is the final result. And this is how we can help them. But we are giving a kind of design tool, or not a full manual, but more or less, yeah.
Tamáš, Miguel, can you try to specify how long does it take, this process in average in average project?
Yes, definitely. You know, in comparison to I apologize. In comparison to other certifications such as BREEAM, LEED, or WELL, that not only take a very long time because of the complexity of the certification, but also takes time and project management from the clients as well. One of the things that we are very, very proud of to say is that our social certification is very easy to implement. It's something that is like the audit, when we say an auditor to a certain place, because of the software that we have, which is some kind of automatized.
And this is in case of any aspiration. If I want to be gold, silver, or bronze, it's always the same. Yeah,
it doesn't. It's irrelevant. It's relevant to the level of the certification, or it's even. For example, it's not going to take the same time to audit a restaurant than to audit a shopping mall center, but still, even you know, a shopping mall center and with more than 30,000 square meters, it can be audited in a day. And the audit reports, it takes approximately the same time, even less than a day. And as Tamáš said, we send it with the developmental suggestions. Now, this is, I think, happened in Romania. And one of our clients, they needed a really fast solution, you know, because they needed to turn in, you know, to give the reports, and they were short for a few points, and you know, they were looking for a quick solution, a solution that was definitely reliable and not time consuming, and they audited their entire portfolio with us. So this is one of the huge advantages that we can have. Another thing that I would like to add, because Martin mentioned about, you know, some of the frameworks such as GRESB or GPI. These are, you're right, sorry. We have been recognized as a design and or construction green build certification and an operational green build certification scheme under the GRESB framework, which is very important. We can now, you know, validate, you know, and say that they count us as a green.
It means that thanks to Access4you in GRESB you can get another point. Yeah, thanks to Access4you.
Today 0.3, but we are fighting to reach the 1 point, which is there is 0.3, 0.7,
so out
and
of
1,
100,
and
it is significant.
Yeah, but we are recognized, and to date our certification has a value of 0.3 point in GRESB, but there is a chance that it will be increased now. And frankly saying, it's a secret, but I can share because this will be published all over the. We are trying to, we are trying to find an interface between LEED, BREEAM, and WELL as well, because the area is a need in every this kind of service. So they want to deal something with disability, and now there is a hard working between this organization and us. To analyze our approach, our methodology, and if it is proper, then our scoring system will be converted into this. So probably we also added after the bronze, silver, and gold ranking a scoring final result, which is rather the approach of these professional certificates, and probably fits better this scoring into the ESG report, and a horizontal comparison is possible within the industry, or a vertical within the time. So if a landlord is improving the building, then 3 years later it can be remeasured that, okay, how much did I read? The scoring helps in this respect. And we try to create a conversion system within our scoring into these systems. So we are working very much on that we will be not only recognized by GRESB, but also by LEED, BREEAM, and WELL. And because they want to solve it, and it's much better that someone else solve it in a proper way, and they can say that, okay, if you have Access4you this and that, and it has a value also for us. Let's see.
That's really good to hear. And I'm really happy to hear this, that there is this integration with the both ESG and BREEAM and WELL. One maybe additional comment that I would have, we typically work with a triangle of certifications. As I had mentioned, it's sustainability, that means BREEAM, and the indoor healthy environment, that's mostly WELL. And then we have the third one, and coincidentally, we cooperate here with Milan on the smart building certification, which includes, for example, smartphone application with wayfinding. So this may be used very well as a tool also for the handicapped people who need assistance navigating, wayfinding around the building. So all of these three, I think your certification could be really nicely integrated. It's somewhere in between. Both BREEAM and WELL have some parts of accessibility portion. You know, we need to provide accessible toilets and accessible wayfinding. But if you have something dedicated to this topic, it fits perfectly well. And again, speaking from our developer standpoint, we need this objectivization, let's call it, of the criteria. How do we compare, let's say, to our competitors, to other buildings? So this is a perfect tool, and there will be, I predict, I have a crystal ball right now, but I predict that there's a very strong future even for your certification.
Thank you for that, Martin.
Thank you very much. I see two questions. One is very similar to the topic that we are just speaking. It's about comparison with other certification schemes. To which one is Access4you the most similar? Is it BREEAM? Is it WELL? Is it FitFEL or New European Sustainability Reporting Standards? This is, I think, something absolutely unique. But complementing each of them,
we are only dealing with a very, very small portion of all these big schemes. That's the reason that the management contribution from the principal is far less. So as long as LEED and BREEAM is a very complex requirement, stuff actually, and accessibility is a very small part of it. The principal has to deliver a lot of information. Here in our, and this is the answer for your prior question, if someone decides that I want to have Access4you certificates, it's 6-8 weeks max. So after contracting and to deliver the final result, and the only contribution from the landlord is to give someone who is leading us through the building, and basically that's it. Everything is done by us. It's a very objective, a very neutral data collection, which further on will be analyzed and evaluated by us. So we are completely independent. We value we assess what we see. So basically this is the base for our analysis, and it's very simple. And it really takes no more than 1 or max 2 days, even in big and complex buildings, the real work actually. Yeah.
And the last question from audience, or it was first one. How difficult is it to become accredited professional for sales of Access4you trademark and for auditing individual project with Access4you? And how much time do candidates need to reserve for it? I think this is relevant when you are entering a new market like Slovakia, because as Martin said, we do not have nothing else than law at the moment. And the certification schemes touch it very, very lightly. So, and if we want to start certify your buildings, and you are looking for candidates. How long does it take?
Luckily, our business model is exactly answering this question. That we were ambitious at the beginning. We saw the answer for this global problem on Earth, that information is there is lack of information, and we created our answers in a way that it's able to be copy paste. So we wanted to be a standard all over the world. And actually, we can deliver the growth and be present everywhere through accredited partners. We have an e-learning staff, an accreditation system with e-learning staff and e-exam. And today we split it in two different chapters, because there is let's say a sales part, and to become an auditor, it requires a bit more learning and knowledge to learn our admin tool software, how it works. The sales accreditation is for free, because it's for the mission that we want to grow the presence of this mission everywhere. The accreditation part, I would say that if someone is really keen to do it, it can be done in a few weeks. We see that it's only depend on the appetite of the potential partner. It really doesn't take so long. By the admin, so in the audit, we require a pilot project. Some building should be it's in a proof surroundings. Actually, it is not the hot database. Something can be measured by themselves, and we are helping a lot. Our chief auditor or the staff, we are helping to learn it. And we also suggest that once you are an accredited partner, we are also helping by the start. So probably the first sharp audit we can have by phone or to be there present. Actually, Slovakia is a neighbor country, so we can help you even on this learning by doing, so on the site if necessary. So I really encourage the audience or the person who raised the question to join us. And
thank you very much. Sounds very interesting. Is language a problem? Is it delivered in English? Because projects normally, if you are doing design phase, are in Slovak language, yeah, or the language where you want to certify the project. Is this an issue?
Actually, the software works today in English, but I think that in this level everyone understands, so it is not so difficult to use it. This is particularly for the building. So basically, we have two different accreditation for the audit, and for the design phase is a bit more difficult, and it costs more. Today, the accreditation fee for 2 years, it's €1,200 for a company. For an individual, is €600. That includes unlimited use of our software as well, so they can audit hundreds of buildings within this 2 years period for that fee. So it is also an available, let's say, value or price for it. The audit is a bit more difficult. That requires some engineering pre-life, let's say, or some experience, or you need to learn more. But that part which can be audited on the plans is the same as in the life, and all the rest, the local language is much better. That if you have to discuss it with an architect, it's probably better in Slovak language, but you will know that what you have to ask there.
Yeah, that's very good that the local people can become accredited because they speak the language. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It was really really good discussion. I have a very good feeling about it. Let me wish you all a very nice day, and really very much thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, Milan. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.